When you see words like natural flavors, colors, vitamins, or probiotics on a label, ingredients, flavors, and colors is the block working behind the scenes. These companies don't sell directly to consumers, they sell to brand owners, and what they supply shows up as flavors and aromas, colors like annatto or beet juice, vitamins and probiotics, fibers, plant extracts, sweeteners, texturants, stabilizers, and other functional blends. Economically, this overlaps with the specialty food ingredients market, which is about $107 billion in 2024, projected to roughly $179 billion by 2034, growing at around 5% a year. Within that, sensory ingredients, flavors, colors, and texture systems account for about 57% of revenue. So this block is a large and important slice of a big specialty market, focused on turning chemistry and biology into taste, smell, appearance, and a health halo. Inside ingredients, flavors, and colors, there are four main buckets. First, flavors, fragrances, and taste systems. Flavors for beverages, snacks, dairy, bakery, and savory foods, and fragrance compounds for personal and home care. This also includes integrated taste systems that combine flavor, masking, sweetness, acidity, and mouthfeel. The flavors and fragrances market alone is about $34 billion in 2025, projected to $59 billion by 2035, or 5 to 6% annual growth. Second, nutrition and wellness ingredients. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, prebiotic fibers, plant extracts, and proteins that support immunity, gut health, and energy. Third, colors, pigments, and appearance modifiers, synthetic and natural food colors, with the total color market rising from $4.6 billion in 2023 to $6.0 billion by 2028, and natural colors from $2.1 billion in 2024 to $3.3 billion by 2033. Fourth, application labs and regulatory services, which help test recipes, manage labeling, and run sensory panels. Most companies in this block run asset-light to moderate manufacturing models. They own plants for blending, spray drying, fermentation, distillation, and extraction, but capital intensity is lower than in bulk chemicals or fertilizers. They operate as high-touch B2B solution providers, not just commodity sellers. Instead of simply selling vanillin, they help a beverage company launch a zero-sugar soda that still tastes good, or a dairy brand create a natural orange shade that survives processing. Revenue is project-driven but recurring. Once a flavor, fragrance, or color system wins a product specification, it can stay in place for years, generating repeat orders as long as the product sells. Capital is tied up in R&D and application labs, manufacturing sites, regulatory and quality infrastructure, working capital, and intangible assets like formulas and aroma libraries. Leading players typically deliver gross margins around 40 to 45% and EBITDA margins around 21 to 24%. Margins are strong because ingredient cost per unit in a soda, yogurt, or shampoo is small, but it drives the consumer experience, and reformulating is painful. That makes specifications sticky and allows many players to pass through price increases when inputs rise, even if there is a lag. Key drivers of returns include winning and keeping high-volume product specs, upgrading the mix into natural, wellness, and complex systems that earn a higher price per kilogram, achieving scale in sourcing and manufacturing, and reusing platforms across many applications to boost R&D productivity. Structurally, growth is supported by health, wellness, and clean label trends, tighter regulation and safety rules on synthetic dyes, and advances in fermentation, biotechnology, enzymes, and AI-assisted formulation. Competitively, this is a concentrated high-barrier market at the top. The biggest 5 flavors and fragrances suppliers hold roughly 75 to 80% of the market, surrounded by hundreds of regional and niche specialists. Customers are mainly large food and beverage manufacturers, personal and home care brands, nutrition and supplements players, and smaller insurgent and private label brands. Large food and beverage companies use these ingredients in almost every product, from beverages and snacks to bakery, dairy, ready meals, and confectionery. They buy when launching new products, when they reformulate for cost, nutrition, or regulation, and when they localize recipes for new countries. Personal and home care brands use fragrances and functional ingredients in shampoos, detergents, lotions, and deodorants, while nutrition and sports brands need vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and masking flavors. Once a flavor, fragrance, or color system is selected and validated, orders become recurring, often monthly or quarterly under annual agreements. For a global brand, a single winning flavor in a high-volume beverage or snack can become a multi-million-dollar annual ingredient purchase, supported by gross margins of 40 to 45% and EBITDA margins of 20 to 24% for leading suppliers. Customer behavior has shifted over the last 3 to 5 years. Smaller insurgent brands now drive around 40% of category growth in some food and personal care markets, compared with less than 20% a few years ago, widening but also fragmenting the customer base. Product cycles have become faster, with seasonal launches, limited-time flavors, and quick online feedback, leading to more frequent briefs and shorter development timelines. Consumers read labels more carefully and demand more natural colors and no artificial flavors. At the same time, demand for functional foods and beverages with protein, fiber, probiotics, and specific health claims is a key factor behind the specialty food ingredients market growing from $107 to $179 billion by 2034 at about 5% CAGR. Over the next 3 to 5 years, expect more digital-first small brands, more co-development of better-for-you products, and a continued shift from synthetic to natural colors and flavors. Ingredients, flavors, and colors is a defensive-leaning specialty block. It is anchored in consumer staples like food, beverage, and hygiene, which hold up relatively well in downturns, while exposure to fine fragrance and premium beauty is more cyclical. In recessions, people still eat, drink, and wash, so core volumes remain resilient, even if indulgent and luxury segments soften. Macro sensitivity can be framed in if-then terms. If disposable income falls, consumers may trade down, but still buy staples, so ingredient volumes stay relatively stable with some mix shift to value. If food or energy costs spike, makers face input pressure, but often pass through price increases over time. If regulation tightens on synthetic additives, demand shifts towards natural, clean-label solutions. Interest rates and exchange rates affect valuations, M&A capacity, and reported margins, but everyday demand depends more on basic consumption and brand behavior. Over the last 3 to 5 years, several big changes have reshaped this block. The clean label and natural shift has accelerated, helped by regulators moving to phase out synthetic dyes by 2026 and approving new natural colorants such as algae-derived blue and butterfly pea flower extract. Large food companies like Kraft Heinz, Conagra, and Campbell's have set 2025 to 2027 timelines to eliminate synthetic dyes from U.S. portfolios, increasing the value of regulatory and sourcing capabilities and weakening synthetic-only suppliers. At the same time, health, wellness, and functionality have become central themes, with the specialty food ingredients market projected to grow from $107 to $179 billion by 2034, at about 5% CAGR, driven by protein-fortified, probiotic, and low-sugar products. The rise of smaller brands, advances in biotech, fermentation, and AI, and the experience of cost inflation and supply shocks have all shifted power towards scaled, science-heavy, flexible ingredient companies. Looking ahead, we can think in near-term and medium-term horizons. In the next 1 to 2 years, demand for basic food, beverage, and hygiene products should stay steady, so this block keeps its defensive tilt. The top 4 to 5 players are likely to continue dominating global specifications and relationships, and margins should remain healthy. Pure synthetic color and artificial flavor-only businesses without a natural or wellness angle will likely to lose share, especially in developed markets, while natural colors, clean label flavor systems, and sugar reduction and wellness solutions grow faster. Over a 3 to 5 year horizon, ingredients, flavors, and colors should remain a specialty, high-margin part of the chemicals universe. Legacy synthetic dye volumes in developed markets will keep shrinking, while natural and nature-identical solutions, biotech and precision fermentation, deeper integration into health and wellness ecosystems, and increased consolidation and portfolio pruning drive a steady compounder profile. Over the long term, 7 to 10 years, some fundamentals are unlikely to change. Humans will still want products that taste, smell, and look appealing, and brand owners will still outsource much of that complexity to specialist ingredient houses. Specifications will remain sticky, keeping recurring revenue and high switching costs in place. Certain additives, such as some synthetic colors or controversial preservatives, may shrink to small niches or be phased out, while biology-driven ingredient platforms using fermentation, bioconversion, and precision agriculture gain ground. More personalized and data-driven formulations, tighter sustainability and traceability requirements, and co-invested innovation labs with brands and retailers may emerge. In an upside scenario, strict enforcement of synthetic dye rules, continued trade-up to healthier products, and cheaper biotech could drive growth above 5 to 6% with strong compounding. A base scenario implies 4 to 6% growth and steady defensive returns, while a downside scenario features low single-digit growth and margin pressure, but a still relevant sector.